The Mugen Train arc in Demon Slayer climaxes with one of the flashiest battles we've ever witnessed in the entire series. The Flame Hashira Rengoku and the Third Upper Moon Akaza represent, up until this point, the pinnacle of power for our main cast to reach. After seeing such amazing battles like Tanjiro and Rui, and literally coming up right after the climactic battle between Inosuke, Tanjiro, and Enma, we've never really witnessed power of this scale before. Even against Rui's family, for the short moment we see both Shinobu and Giyu save our cast from the higher level demons, we see just how much of a power gap lies between the average Demon Slayer and a Hashira. And now, through Akaza, we are able to witness the other side of the gap, the one that lies between a lower moon and an upper moon. Despite the battle being between two characters we are not so familiar with, much like many other battle shonen, we are able to learn about our characters and feel the emotional conflict between them through the subtle dialogue and the trading of blows between the fighters. Through such a short fight, so much can be laid out on the table from it. We gather so much information about our fighters' power, what they represent, their principles and moral systems, and learn so much about these two characters that they leave such a vivid impression in such a small amount of time. It really shows just how little Demon Slayer needs to really grab a hold of your attention and get you invested. Akaza, representing the heights a demon can achieve, a martial artist who lives infinitely for the thrill of battle, looking for the next best fight. And Rengoku, a noble warrior willing to do anything to save others that aren't able to save themselves. Akaza arrives on the scene, ready to clean up the mess that Enma has created. In the first couple seconds of being introduced to him, we can already see he's very lacking in the moral department. Which, for a demon, this is obviously to be expected, but for someone who considers himself a martial artist, it may be a little odd at first. Akaza has no problem taking out an injured individual if it suits him, especially if they don't stand a chance in battle with him. As a self-described martial artist, Akaza looks constantly for the next best battle that he can get into. He has taken out multiple Hashira in the process looking for this match, and unfortunately he has yet to find it. In this brief battle, multiple times, Akaza offers Rengoku the ability to become a demon, as he respects the aura of power that Rengoku emanates and believes he could easily be converted into a demon due to that strength. Akaza admits that he has offered multiple different Hashira the ability to become a demon, signaling that this is not one of the first Hashira he has fought, let alone completely murdered. Muzan does mention prior to this that the upper moons have remained unchanged for centuries, which means that Akaza has terrorized multiple generations of demon slayers, somehow never once being defeated. Being an upper moon, it's no surprise he would even be so cocky to lob out that offer willy-nilly, clearly being one of the demons that is closer to Muzan, as Tanjiro even mentions that Akaza's scent is the closest to Muzan's that he's ever smelt. Now, this may just be due to what I imagine are the copious amounts of Muzan's blood Akaza may have running through his veins and has received in the years being a demon in his rank. But even on his own, Akaza represents a very unique power in his own blood art, which is very bluntly named Destructive Death. Akaza uses Destructive Death in a myriad of ways, branching the ability off into multiple different versions to fit what he may need in certain situations. In his fight with Rengoku, we see him manifest Destructive Death in ways such as Disorder, Air type, and Annihilation type. He also holds another power called Technique Development, which allows him to gain further control over his sensory and perception abilities. Akaza, almost uniquely up until this point, maintains the innate ability to witness an opponent's fighting spirit, as he calls it, or more specifically, an opponent's aura and power level. His technique development power, Compass Needle, allows him to improve this extrasensory power and maintain full perspective on a battle and any opponents he may be facing in all directions. This only benefits his martial arts abilities, as this allows him to stay ahead of his opponents, accompanied with his insane speed and power. This is what allows him to make Destructive Death so lethal. Now, Destructive Death and all its variations revolve around Akaza's martial arts and allow him to create shockwaves that extend his power outside of his body. This allows him to fight long range, as well as add power to his already damaging punches and kicks. Akaza's fighting style revolves around going for an opponent's neck and vitals using his punches and kicks, using his extrasensory abilities to always know where the best place to land his attacks are. This is why he's able to critically injure Rengoku in only such a small amount of blows. Destructive Death also allows him to keep up with Rengoku's flame-breathing attacks, even in esoteric art, taking large damage from the latter, but not even enough to stagger him. Akaza, the demon who's searching to be the strongest, a Hashira Slayer, and a dishonorable martial artist. He represents right now the peak of what all demons should aspire to be. and the impression that he has left on the series will be felt by the entire main cast for the rest of the series, and he truly won't be forgotten until he is laid to rest for good. Now, the Flame Hashira Rengoku is another character we get introduced to during the beginning of the Mugen Train arc. We do meet Rengoku earlier in the series after Tanjiro and Nezuko are taken back to Demon Slayer HQ, but this arc is where we truly get to know him as a person and come to understand the depth of what kind of power lies behind a Hashira. Being one of the stronger Hashira out of the 9 that exist, Rengoku represents the element of flame proudly and very accurately as displayed in his fiery hair and flaringly optimistic personality. It's almost like he was born for this. Well, it turns out, Rengoku is the son of the previous Flame Hashira, a retired, depressed man who for some unknown reason gave up on being a demon slayer and protecting the weak a long time ago. Since then, Rengoku's life has revolved around picking up the slack of his father and taking care of his little brother, as well as father wasted away, as did his mother, who unfortunately passed away. Despite coming from sad beginnings, Rengoku's unwavering positivity and heroism is rapidly contagious and inspiring. In only a few short interactions with our main characters, he immediately creates a strong mentor-student relationship with Tanjiro and inspires the other members of the cast to achieve grander heights and not be satisfied with the level they reside at now. What truly creates the presence of Rengoku's overwhelming superiority and hero status is his strength. The way Rengoku wields his sword and his flame breathing is, for lack of a better phrase, absolutely breathtaking. Rengoku is able to achieve things like extreme speed by manipulating his breathing and flame use to rocket himself forward and get up close and personal with opponents in the blink of an eye. It is demonstrated that attaining this speed is basically second nature to him at this point, as during the battle with Enma, Rengoku was able to blitz his way through multiple train carts and not allow a single passenger to be injured or killed, even while completely surrounded by multiple threats. This also shows how precise Rengoku can be with his blade, as every swing of his sword finds meaning, being able to eliminate most average demons with little effort and a single slash. As a Hashira, despite Rengoku's 1,000-yard stare, he also maintains a level of tactical prowess and quite a noble personality. In the battle with Akaza, Rengoku displays excellent adaptability, being able to keep up with Akaza's intense fighting style and speed without any prior knowledge and being completely taken off guard by his arrival. It's also displayed that even in the face of pure evil, Rengoku radiates a bright light in the darkness, and it's not just from his hair. Rengoku insults Akaza for being willing to attack and injure Tanjiro, and also denounces the thought of becoming a demon, finding pride in being human and claiming things like growing old or dying young are beautiful and inevitable parts of life. As our full introduction to what a Hashira is and represents, Rengoku is everything a demon slayer should aspire to be. An unrelenting will, sharp intellect and moral system, with the confidence and strength to achieve any goal that he or her sets up for themselves. It's also the first person we've ever seen use an esoteric art. Rengoku is willing to sacrifice everything to protect those weaker to him, a mission he believes that he was born with due to his superior power. Even in death, his legacy and impact will live on in the demon slayers he has entrusted his spirit with. As Akaza even calls him, Rengoku truly is one of the chosen ones. He represents the perfect contrast to a peak demon like Akaza, and just like Akaza, Rengoku's impact on the main cast will live on, but for the opposite reasons. Reasons that Akaza may live to regret. So the first thing that I want to touch on is just how different this fight is in the manga compared to the movie. Normally, fight scenes are a bit extended just to make the animation flow a little bit better and make everything look nice, but personally, this fight was heavily improved upon and significantly increased in quality from the source material. As an admitted Demon Slayer anime only, after reading this battle in the manga again for this video, I can't tell if the impact of Rengoku losing and just the sheer power both of these parties represent comes across the same way. So although I will be using both as references to the battle in the video, I will primarily be talking about the anime version of the events because I feel it's a lot more fleshed out. The first thing that is worth mentioning is just how abrupt this battle starts. In mere seconds of showing up, Akaza takes a leap for Tanjiro, and Rengoku has to react and defends him on a dime. This is one of the first comparisons Akaza and Rengoku share, as they both represent the heights of the factions that they represent. Both fighters are able to react to situations in near perfect timing and without any hesitation or wavering emotion. Akaza, who tries to taunt Rengoku and appeal to human insecurity, shows his malice and cockiness in how nonchalant he handles the Demon Slayer. And Rengoku, on the opposite side, shows just how unshakable his will is, as he insults Akaza at the thought of turning into a demon and corrects him not to call Tanjiro weak. These similarities are further represented in how quickly the pair are able to find synergy in their battle. Despite Akaza not wielding a blade, he doesn't flinch at all trading blows with Rengoku. His durability allows him to fight Rengoku as an equal, which just further shows Akaza's martial artist spirit, and that despite his disregard of honor when it comes to slaying those weak or injured, when it comes to fighting, he does in fact show respect to those he considers a real opponent. It's interesting to note how Akaza's disregard of the weak directly contrasts Rengoku's entire life philosophy. This allows a relationship to form between the two warriors even amongst the rising tension and swinging attacks. Akaza takes joy in Rengoku's hero-like demeanor, and just like a demon, tries his best to break that will down by taunting his mortality and attempting to overwhelm him with his own power. Akaza is unable to understand why someone that he recognizes as an equal would be so foolish as to deny being a demon when this basically means that all of their strife and improvement throughout life will essentially be for nothing eventually once age catches up with them. However, I honestly don't think Rengoku owns a single insecurity in his body. He is sure of himself and has absolutely no stray thoughts. Rengoku has accepted death and age and wishes to merely save as many people as he can while he resides on this earth. Putting up a shield with blooming flame undulation, Rengoku is unable to block Akaza's destructive death air type effortlessly, showing that it will take more than power and intimidation alone to break him. And almost symbolically, Rengoku basically tells Akaza he's going to take his power head on, blitzing his way right up to Akaza's throat, a clever mirror to Akaza's own fighting style, and attempts to bring the battle to him, executing attacks without fail. Rengoku is so fearless, he is willing to even follow Akaza in a pitch-black forest after sending him flying backwards from a slash. It is here, however, that Rengoku's pride and unrelenting will begins to show its stomach. As the two continue the intensity, Rengoku begins to eat his own words. Despite how beautiful it may be to be a human, Akaza does have a point when he mentions their fragility. Even Rengoku, a man among men, is mortal, and as the warriors continue to trade blows, the human body begins to give out. Akaza begins to land blows on Rengoku, and it's not just because of weakness, it's because Rengoku is beginning to reach his limit. Akaza manages to, in only a couple swift and precise blows, break multiple of Rengoku's ribs, crush his eye, and he does internal damage that is most likely irreparable. Rengoku refuses to back down, and in one giant clash he unleashes an immense amount of power with Flame Tiger, unfortunately being matched by Akaza's destructive death Disorder. This herein lies the problem when it comes to Rengoku's loss. When it comes to power scaling, Rengoku and Akaza were near perfect matches. Able to go blow for blow and match each other at every step of the way, it's not hard to imagine why Akaza at a certain point stops taunting Rengoku when he asks him to become a demon and starts to genuinely beg this Hashira that was able to rival him in power to join the ranks of the demons. Unfortunately, when it comes to the philosophy of this battle, Akaza does come out the winner because at the end of the day, he's proven right after the end of the fight. No matter how strong Rengoku was or how much he accomplished in life, when it came to plain durability and endurance, the human body is unable to keep up with that of a demon. By being able to regenerate after every massive blow Rengoku landed, and Rengoku unable to sustain lethal blows and come back from them, it was inevitable that without a killing blow being landed by Rengoku, he would eventually tire out. And as stated before, due to their natural equality, a killing blow just wasn't possible without any help. And unfortunately, as represented in this battle, Tanjiro, Inosuke, and Zenitsu are so far from this level of power, it's absolutely disgusting. Inosuke even admits that the two of them are in an entirely different dimension, and even if Tanjiro or him were able to jump in and help, they would only be a hindrance to Rengoku and get in his way. In one final relent against his destiny, Rengoku ignites his heart and sets his entire body ablaze, using all of his energy and condensing it into one final swing in an attempt to damage Akaza as much as humanly possible, in order to ensure Akaza is unable to kill anyone after his inevitable death. And it is for this very small moment Rengoku surpasses Akaza. It is for this small moment alone, and even in the final moments of this battle they return as equals, but for this one moment, Akaza felt weak. Rengoku's fighting spirit and airtight stance emulates that of a fire god. The Flame Hashira stands his ground in order to accomplish his life's mission. It's so fitting that the esoteric art he uses as his final attack is named after his family. Akaza in this fleeting moment begs Rengoku to become a demon, knowing if Rengoku lives they can continue to train together and Akaza can hope to become even stronger than he already is. Akaza flinches for what is probably the first time in decades before happily reigniting his own fighting spirit in order to meet Rengoku's head-on. As Rengoku charges at Akaza, his spirit roaring like a dragon engulfed in proud flames, Akaza can't help but laugh in joy as he meets Rengoku's attack with his own destructive death annihilation type. Now, for just a moment, I just want to sit here and break the immersion for just a second and talk to you guys about the absolute suspense I had in the movie theater waiting for the smoke to clear and see what happened after this attack. It's just not a feeling that really many series are able to invoke. Maybe other people felt the same, but as always, comment down below if you disagree. Feel free to debate me about it. The one thing I will say this fight does almost perfectly is just the level of stakes and tension it sets up. Just amongst these two opponents, it's so hard to even tell what the outcome of this fight will be. Both characters make such a strong case for survival in such little time, they are both integral enough to the plot to survive. However, unfortunately, as the smoke clears, we find out that humankind, despite how true and inspiring their will may be, is snuffed out by the darkness that is demonhood. With an arm through his solar plexus, Rengoku takes one last thought of his mother and the mission she instilled within him at a young age to protect the weak. Akaza, who's greatly damaged at this point but literally is almost unfazed, continues to beg Rengoku to join him for eternity. Rengoku, reawakened and reinvigorated, makes a cut right into Akaza's throat. In one last attempt, the two equals scream into each other's faces as one continues to fight, and the other, as the sun begins to rise, begins to show his tail and find the quickest way out of this situation. Despite Tanjiro and Inosuke's late attempt to help Rengoku decapitate Akaza, Akaza is able to rip his body apart from his arms and escape into the woods underneath the shade of trees. And as the night snuffed out the flame, the sun rising lights up the ashes. This just shows that despite humans' fragility, when knocked down, they will get right back up. And despite taking a loss at this battle here, humanity will live to rise again. This time, stronger, wiser, and more fired up than ever before. In only one short battle, we're granted such a full and developed image of both Kyojuro, Rengoku, and Akaza. Rengoku set such a high bar of an example for the other Hashira, it will be hard to top his introduction to the story. For only hanging around the main cast for a single arc, he really touches all of them in his own way and inspires in them the ability to reach heights that they never thought possible. While at the same time, Akaza creates the foreboding presence of the Upper Moon demons. For such a powerful and terrifying demon, he was only ranked number 3. Akaza represents the level of threat our main cast is now going to be dealing with since the lower ranks have been dismantled, and leaves a personal scar and reminder for our main cast that if they don't achieve grander heights, it is only death that awaits them. Rengoku and Akaza were perfect opposites, yet similar in so many ways. Valiant warriors, one an honorable knight of flames, willing to put his life on the line to protect the weak, and the other a malicious murderous brawler, looking to become the strongest he can, doing anything he can to live to become just that. They both stood as pillars, no pun intended, of their respective factions, and represented to us and the main cast what the next level of power was truly capable of, while leaving a path in their wake for the others to walk and emulate what they just witnessed. It truly is a shame how it ended, as at the end of the day, Rengoku withstood the entire battle, never waning in character, while Akaza, giving some understanding with the fact that he would have died if he continued to stand his ground, showed vulnerability and ran. In my opinion, I agree with Tanjiro. The winner of this battle was definitely Rengoku. It truly is a shame, because be it not for worldly limitations, Rengoku and Akaza truly obtained a level of synergy in battle that we have just yet to see in the series. I truly believe that if Rengoku wasn't bound by human flesh, Akaza really could have gotten what he wanted, and the both of them could have fought together forever. For eternity. Hey guys, I appreciate it if you made it all the way to the end here. Thank you for enjoying another battle analysis. I wanted to get on the Demon Slayer hype train as soon as possible because I'm so excited that the second season is about to kick off. I definitely want to branch out into other anime and manga, so if there's anything that you want to see or any suggestions that you have, please comment them down below and let me know. Maybe I'll check them out. Once again, thank you so much if you made it all the way to the end. Please like the video if you did, and comment below, tell me what you thought about it. And if you want to see more content like this sent right into your feed, definitely hit the subscribe button. I appreciate you as a person, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.